Ni hao. Wish is Stephanie. Wajao, Stephanie. Still not entirely sure. There's gotta be a reason why those are different. Okay, not the point. It's another Leitner box video. So, I'm still on schedule to take the HSK1 test on March 24th. I think. Again, my company is arranging it and I don't have final confirmation, but I haven't heard that I'm not taking it. So we're just going to assume that that is the case. I'm a little freaked out because I haven't been studying daily and there's still a lot of cards that I don't know from HSK1, and I haven't made progress with the book because I've been traveling more for work again, and I'm not prepared for that right now. Moving and traveling for work at the same time was a bit hard to handle, and I'm just now recovering from that. So I'm trying to get back on track, which means I need to update you. It's so dry in here. My hair is seriously like, look at this. This is winter in China. I have put so much stuff in. This is crazy. Wait. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, sorry. I have to be goofy because this is my personality. So I'm trying to like make a list of when I start my my studying, what I want to do step by step by step by step. I usually have this, but I've fallen off that track because I thought the Leitner box could be my step-by-step because it tells me which ones to do on what day, but then I added an extra couple of steps to the process, so I needed to make a new list. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I really like the plastic box that I have, but it does not travel well. It's too big, even though it's kind of small. So I have all these hotel envelopes, so I'm just using these with the number on them, right? A number on them. Okay, so I've still got 7 of those, and then I've got a different envelope for the ones I want to process. I'm away from home for 2 days, so I've got 30 cards in here, 15 each day. Those are the new ones that I'm going to start putting into the Leitner box. Then I've got the final one is the process one, and these are all of the cards that I messed up enough times that I need to sit with them for longer and look at their character, the characters, the sound, the tone, not so much the tones, but the meaning, and I need to sit with them and let the animation wash over me. And I need to get to know them again because apparently the first time I got to know them wasn't good enough. So that's the extra step that I'm adding on to the Leitner box. The rest of it I'm doing the same. Technically I'm on day 10, but I haven't been doing it as frequently as I'd like, again because of moving and work and stuff. So I was debating on whether or not to start over at day 1 and do that. But honestly, there's so much repetition. I kind of cross this out, but you can see the repetition in here, right? So I think because of that and because of the impending HSK test, I'm going to keep pushing forward and just do it the way I'm doing it. The one thing I have to do is I have to do the processing. I have a big holiday coming up. Not vacation, but like national holiday, spring festival, Chinese New Year, depending on where you are and what you want to call it, coming up next week. So I'm going to have to spend more time processing. This is just part of the words that I need to sit down and spend time with. Now I can't do them all at once because that defeats the purpose of spending time with them, because I need to do some every day, but I need to get into more of a rhythm of doing a certain amount per day because those need to get into the Leitner box review. So I need to get better with that. And fast, because it's February 7th, and so I've basically got 5 weeks before the test, and vocabulary is just part of the test. I've also been having issues downloading the sound to work on my HSK book, so there's all kinds of crazy obstacles that I can't handle because I can't even find half of my stuff since we moved. And I'm not even home to even try to do it. So there's a lot of life happening now, which is just rah. So I'm trying to compose myself and just do something every day. Again, I'm doing this part-time. I've got lots of other things happening, but I feel like I can move forward. If I just keep doing a little bit, I can move forward. So what I'm doing is I just processed 3 cards because that's all my brain can handle today. I spent time with them in Pleco. I looked at, again, the meaning, the sound, the components, all that, or the characters that make them up, or if they have radicals, I was looking at the radicals. So I was looking at that. I was staring at them, waiting for the animation that I do to come out. And then I'm putting them in the new one. So tomorrow, those could potentially come out and start entering into the Leitner box system. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to do the Leitner box. So today is day 10. I'm supposed to review envelopes 3 and 1. So I'm going to do those offline, and I'll come back and tell you what happened. What happened? I don't need to do these online every day, do I? No, I think that's kind of dull. I want to highlight different things in the process each time I do these videos, not the same thing over and over again. So I'll be right back as soon as I'm done with 3 and 1. Okay, so that went a lot better than I thought. For section 3, I made some notes actually. I might quantify this on my handy-dandy calendar. For section or envelope 3. Can I have the envelope, please? Sorry, I can't not do that. I went down, I had 5 cards. One of them went down to level 2 because it was taking too long and I want it to be very automatic, right? One stayed at level 3, which means I eventually got there, but it took too long, and 3 of them went up. So 3 out of 5 went up. Not bad. In level 1, envelope 1, 0 went down, so I didn't put any down in processing again, so that's good. 3 of them stayed at level 1 again because it took too long or I just didn't remember, and 6 of them went up. 6 of them went up. That feels pretty good. The ones that went up, because it was starting at level 1, as long as I was really, really close. Like on one of them, I thought it was Jiantian, but it's Jintian. And I think that's close enough to go from 1 to 2. I think that feels comfortable. So I'm kind of playing with the rules a little bit, but you know what? Meh. It's there you have it. One thing I did notice is I keep confusing. Let me show you him. He stayed in number 1, and I think I've talked about him before. I don't know why I refer to words and characters and Hansa characters as him. I don't know why. And do I just refer to the ones that I struggle with as him, or do I refer to all of them? These are questions that I have about my own language learning. So him, this is my, which means to buy. Okay, and I keep thinking that it's, sorry, my cards keep getting in the way of my cord because I'm plugged in with my other phone. So if you can see do here, do, okay, can I hold them in a way that you can see both? Do you see that one there and this one here? Do you see the similarities in that? I'm trying to get the green one to show up, to show up. So I keep confusing them. You can see why, right? There we go, there we go, there we go. Can you see why? So I went down into the components here. And if you can see it here, look at that. My is actually a component of do. So for some reason, to buy is a component of to read. I don't know why, don't have to know why, but the components don't always build up meaning-wise, to the words. And in this case, it feels like a loose association because buying doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, you could go to the broader idea of buying as collecting things, okay, there you go, that's probably it. Collecting, if you're reading, you're collecting ideas. Maybe that's the broader thing that connects the two. I can't believe how high up my hair is with the static. Anyway, yeah, so maybe that's it. But the thing that I like to do when I dig into the ones that confuse me, or that I keep confusing with each other, is to notice the differences. So the differences I noticed there, did I even notice the difference? Wow, that's embarrassing. Hold on, let me dig this out again. So what are the differences? So I remember which one's which. So the to buy one has much less. So this might turn into like a stroke order. Okay, so since my is a component of do, my is simple by itself, and do is much more complicated. We're looking at this one here, not the one next to it. That's the traditional one. So we're looking at that one that is unfortunately right now highlighted. There we go. So we're looking at that one. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. Oh, I should have done this sooner. Okay, so this is to practice the stroke order, right? I love doing this. This is what I do when I make the cards. So do you see that? It's right here, and it's a part of, well, here and this part. So it's a part of this word, whereas here it's its own word. And this is why it gets confusing, right? Because this is a word, but it's part of this word. So I just have to remember that the by one is the simpler one, and the read one is the more complex one that also involves the meaning radical and, is that the earth radical? And something else. So that's just something that I have to do when I confuse them, is I have to break them down. For me, I have to break them down and figure out why I'm confusing them. In this case, it makes complete sense why I'm confusing them, because they're incredibly similar, because one of them is actually, one of the words is part of one of the other words. And that's what learning is. I don't know why I'm going into that. So now I have to do the 15 new ones for the day, and then I'm done. See, this is what kills me. This process is really simple. I started at 8 o'clock. I'm going a little slow because I'm stopping to document it here. But honestly, I could do all of this in half an hour a day, and yet sometimes lately it's just been hard to even do that. But I'm going to push on today, and I'm going to do my 15 new ones. I'll come back and tell you anything that happened, and who knows how staticky my hair will be in 15 minutes. My goodness. Okay, so I'm kind of massaging the system even more, because I think what I might have to do is just shove everything, the new stuff, instead of having a separate processing step before step 1 in the Leitner, before envelope 1. Sorry, this chair is a little uncomfy. Instead of doing that, I think I have to just accept the fact that I need to put the cards into envelope 1 after the initial trying to figure out if I know them or not, and then just keep them in 1 until I do them, and allow time for going over the envelope 1 longer than the other envelopes, or maybe for the ones that stay in, this might be a better way, for the ones that don't go up to 2, like on days when I'm doing level 1, which I think is virtually every day it is. Okay, it is. So they have you reviewing envelope 1 almost literally every day on the schedule. So what I need to do then is allow myself time for the ones that don't move up to 2, is to allow myself to spend time with them there, because I think what's happening is that things are piling up in the processing one, and I'm not seeing them as often because I don't have time to process them. But if they're in 1, then I have to do them every day, and at least I'll start getting exposure and seeing them. I'm seeing too many in the processing area that I don't even recognize, and recognizing it is getting comfortable with how it looks is part of the process for me. So I think I've messed up by making that a step before envelope 1. I think it needs to be a step of envelope 1. So alteration to the Leitner box continues. So I just went through the ones that were in processing, which again, this is just part of them. I didn't bring the whole stack. And I went through, and the ones I could recognize enough, I put into number 1. I put into envelope 1. There's still ones that are really, really hard for me, and I'll deal with those tomorrow. So I'm just going to put those into the new envelope and get rid of the processing envelope, because that, again, was slowing me down, and I wasn't getting the exposure to them. So you try things, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So the processing envelope is dying. Let me make sure nothing else is in there. It isn't. Goodbye. So again, I'm trying to give myself time to sit with the ones that I have a hard time remembering, and that's just not going to happen within the context of prior to the Leitner box. It will just become a part of step 1 in the Leitner box, and that will take longer than the other ones that I'm reviewing that day. so be it. So thank you for having me or watching me as I walk through what's not working and figure out what could work better. Will it? I don't know. Stick around. We'll see. The other interesting thing while I was doing that was I realized, and I realized this before, but I don't think I've said this, I've showed this to you yet. So this is Erze, which is sun, literally Erze, right? And se is like, what is its exact meaning? I know it more in Hanse word, even though when I see it in that form, I mess it up completely. Because that's actually, there's two components, as you can see on the left here, there's two components in that make up the word. But I always mess it up when I see it by itself. But what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Let's see how fast I can pull stuff up. Now it's pulling up all kinds of words with "z" in it, which is a really common syllable. So if I just pull up the word for word, then I can decompose it. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so "z" literally means offspring, child, fruit of, first terrestrial branch. Let's forget about terrestrial branch, shall we? And let's... I love making that sound. That's a really satisfying sound. Let's do that again. Love that. Anyway, so offspring, child, fruit, seed of. So it makes sense that you would have so like second seed, but which actually that one doesn't make sense if that's not second. That's a different, or second is just, or two is, what is that second? See, now this isn't even the point of why I was bringing this up. I was bringing this up because I think it's interesting that word has "z" in it, and that son has "z" in it, and I think daughter does too, but I don't have that in my pile today. So now I'm curious what the and Erze means. Let's see if I break that down. See, this is the part that's kind of fun. Remembering it's hard, but seeing what things mean. So this is not two. See, that's the thing that I think I was getting confused with Erze. As I was thinking I know is sun, so ooh, okay, that's No. I know how to write that. That's two lines. Meh. So this is definitely, this is child. This is child. And that is just which is child or youngster. So it's a very different So it's child seed. If you really wanted to break it down into its English component in its most awkward form, child seed, as opposed to word. Which would be, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's interesting that both of those have that "z" component or part in them. I'm just going to say part because I obviously keep messing up. Component versus character versus word. And you know what? It has, see it right here in the bottom here and here. So this seems to be the theme of the day, is I'm confusing some of them that have similar parts, and I'm not connecting ones that have parts that could help me memorize them. So it's interesting. It's interesting how similar the vocabulary, the words are to each other, and how easily confusing they are. And my goodness, this is only going to get worse with the more words that I know. I'm still working with 150 words, y'all. 150. And with HSK 2, I will double that amount. And so it's only going to get more confusing. So that processing step within, I'm actually going to write that on the envelope, plus processing. So I don't forget to spend time when I need to. So I wrote on here, number 1, plus processing. So remember to give myself time. I don't have to just give myself time in that one, but since that's where they will, if I constantly mess up, they'll go down. Well, if I constantly mess up, they'll never leave number 1. But at least I'll have exposure to them every day, as opposed to now when they're sitting in the processing envelope and I'm barely pulling from that because I feel like I don't have time to process them. So I think this will at least get me comfortable with them, and getting comfortable with the characters, that the physicality and the script is part of the problem with studying the Chinese language for me, and I think for many other people coming from English. This process, this Leitner box, is a work in progress. I really feel like there's a lot of potential for this to work. I just feel like with Chinese it needs a bit of massaging, and so I'm massaging it. Have you used the Leitner box method with, I feel like I should call it Leitner envelopes now because I've switched over to this this method. But anyway, have you used this method? How does it work for you? Are you making any changes if you're studying a language, if you're coming from English to a language like Chinese or Japanese? I'm not going to say Korean because Korean's a phonetic language, and although the alphabet's too easy to pronounce. I know vocabulary-wise it's probably not super easy, but sound-wise it's a spoiling language to learn. I have heard you could learn it in a couple of hours. Yeah, sound-wise, which is just spoiling, you lucky folks. But yeah, so I would love to hear your comments and suggestions. I don't know, I'm too stubborn for suggestions, but your feedback, your stories, your experiences. What have you done with your Leitner box with Chinese? What alterations have you made, if any? Or did you just do it as is and just keep on keeping on for 64 days in a row? Whew, with all the cards that you could handle. All right, thank you so much for watching. There will be more soon. I promise you I will do some walkabouts soon. I swear it's coming. I know those were some of the more interesting videos. I really like making them too, but it's -3, -4, down to -7 in Celsius right now, which is far too cold to have my hands out, and I cannot hold anything in my hands with my very clunky but very warm gloves. So it's been really difficult to get outside to film. Hopefully we have a bit of a warm snap during the holiday next week, and I can get outside and show you some words, and yeah, so we can do some walkabouts coming soon. Trust me, spring and summer I'll be outside. I will be outside. I will bear that heat for you because I really love making those videos. So those will be coming back. I promise you. We're not done. We're not done with that, but we need a vocabulary dump while we're colded out. Colded in, I guess. Inside because of the cold. All right. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your comments and all of that good stuff. I love that you guys are interacting with this stuff. It really, really keeps me going because I'm studying this solo, which is super solitary, boring thing, and I'm not that person that likes to sit by herself doing things like this. So yay! Thank you for your input, and more soon. 再见.